So if you're a disciplined person who still finds themselves procrastinating, then most advice out there won't work for you. Most often than not, you don't have a laziness problem, you have a friction problem. Personally, I never miss a tough workout and I never miss a client deadline. But when it comes to starting my own creative work, I most times find myself having a hard time simply just starting. Today, I'm showing you the 30-second system I use to bypass that resistance to stop overthinking and finally hit escape velocity and into productivity. Hi, I'm John. I'm an illustrator and designer, and I approach self-development as a design problem. On this channel, we test practical ways to train the body and the mind so you can move from over-analyzing to consistent action. If you're ready to stop waiting and just start moving, you're in the right place. Also, if you're new and someone who still struggles with simply starting, subscribe. This channel's for you. Later in this video, I'll be showing you a system I've structured from this experiment that will not only allow you to get over that initial hump of procrastination, but get you moving towards your task quickly. But first, I want to show you what's necessary to build it in the first place. I gotta say, the life of a creative is hard. Just to fill you in on the current events, it's been a lot of gear shifting. Lately, I've been in survival mode since recently being let go from my full-time design role. These days have been a constant hustle, chasing freelance leads, managing client projects, and just keeping the business side of my life moving. By the time I've handled all that on a daily basis, my brain power is essentially zero. So when I finally sit down to work on personal projects like building this channel or finally drafting the first book of a high fantasy trilogy I've been working on since 2016, which by the way, I'll definitely be sharing more about in a future video, the negotiation starts immediately. My brain says, you don't have the headspace for this right now. Let's just do more research. Let's keep world building for another hour. It sounds productive, right? But what I'm really doing is just hiding. Because the second I look at that book outline, the self-doubt kicks in. I start questioning if the ideas are even any good. But I realize how to beat this because of how I train. If you've seen my previous video on minimalist training, which you can check out later here, you know I've had to strip away the junk volume in the gym to get actual results. I realized I had to apply that same logic here. I'll get to the end of a long day and the drive to jump into training will take a while to kick in. I'll find myself walking into the gym totally drained thinking, maybe I should just do this tomorrow. But I've learned to stop the negotiation before it begins. I don't focus on the whole workout, I just focus on getting to the gym and starting that first set. Because I know that once I move the weight, the energy will follow the motion. Within 5 minutes, I'm locked in full force. I started applying that same physical logic to my design work and my writing. When the task feels huge or the headspace isn't quite there, you have to stop waiting for the right feeling. You have to realize that that feeling you're waiting for is actually on the other side of starting. Energy follows motion. Get the weight moving and the mind will follow. When something feels uncertain, difficult, or ego-threatening, your brain looks for relief. Avoidance gives that relief instantly. You scroll, you reorganize, you think a little more, and for a moment, it feels better. But the task just doesn't disappear. It gets heavier. There's strong behavioral research showing that small actions reduces avoidance anxiety faster than thinking about the task. But honestly, I don't need a study to see it. I could feel it. The moment I start moving even slightly, the tension drops. So the goal isn't eliminating discomfort, it's shortening the time between discomfort and action. Because that delay is what turns a 30-minute task into a 3-day mental wait. The system is simple, but it's hard because your ego will hate it. You give yourself exactly 30 seconds to start, but with one condition, it has to be ugly. If I'm drafting a chapter for my novel, I'm not looking for the right word, I'm just putting ugly sentences on a page, just pure stream of consciousness. If I'm illustrating or designing something on the computer, I'm just throwing down messy shapes and sketchy lines. No polish, no optimization, no judgment. It's exactly like the gym. Before focusing on lifting heavy, I'll first focus on warming up, getting that blood flowing, and just getting the technique down first. The 30-second rule is about getting you to the starting point fast. You aren't committing to the whole hour of work, you're just committing to those first 30 seconds of resistance. Once you move past that point, the anxiety softens and the momentum takes over. Some days 30 seconds isn't enough, some days the resistance feels harder, so I add a second layer, 5 minutes, Timer on, low quality output only. When illustrating, rough sketching. Loose composition, no erasing. When designing, rough layout, placeholder text, FPO images in place. When writing, rough draft, no editing, no polishing, you get the idea. 5 minutes removes the pressure to be good. And somewhere around minute 3 or 4, that escape velocity kicks in. You're no longer deciding whether to work, you're working. And even if I stop at 5 minutes, I've reinforced something. More important than output, I've reinforced the identity of someone who starts. This was the biggest shift. I stopped debating the voice, not because it disappears, it doesn't. It still shows up, but I treat it differently. When resistance appears, I apply the rule. No emotional negotiation, no waiting to feel ready, just execution. Procrastination may not disappear, but your response to it can. For 30 days, track 3 things. Did I start within 30 seconds? Did I complete 5 minutes? Did I avoid negotiating? That's it. No journaling essays, no emotional deep dives, just behavioral reps, because resistance doesn't disappear permanently. You just get faster at responding to it. It's one thing to understand the psychology of procrastination. It's another thing entirely to face that resistance at 5 p.m. on a Tuesday, when your brain is fried from client work. I had to build a system that didn't rely on feeling ready. I needed something practical. If you want the exact structure I used to navigate this, I built the 30-day procrastination reset booklet that isn't a theory book. It's a literal field guide for the mental side of this experiment. It's the documentation of my self-architecture process, and it includes the daily execution grid to move your wins from your head onto the page so you can track your progress objectively, the 30-second start protocol, the mechanical steps to reduce friction on the days when resistance is loudest, the 5-minute activation template, design-based prompts to get the momentum moving before your ego can talk you out of it, the weekly pattern review, which is a system to audit your friction point and see exactly where your architecture is breaking down. This turns the idea of getting started into a repeatable, grounded system. It's minimalist, it's practical, and it's free. You can grab the download at the link below. Remember, you don't need more motivation. You need a faster way to simply start. If you found this kind of content helpful, subscribe. This channel is about testing ideas, refining systems, and building something sustainable. Until next time, thank you for watching.